Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a massive, silent dream killer that honestly, almost all of us deal with at some point. Have you ever wondered why we constantly abandon our goals? Like, why do we start projects with so much absolute fire, only to quietly walk away a few weeks later? Well, we are going to uncover exactly why that happens, and, much more importantly, how we can finally learn to cross the finish line. So let's take a quick inventory right now. I want you to think about the app graveyard on your smartphone. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just how many abandoned apps are sitting there right this second? You know, the language courses begging you not to break your streak, the workout trackers you used for exactly 3 days, or maybe those design tutorials you started with immense excitement but just never finished? Trust me, we've all been there. And look, if you feel bad about those abandoned apps, you are definitely not alone. Research from the University of Scranton and MIT actually shows that only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. 8%! And when it comes to online courses, barely 5 to 10% of people actually finish them. So what does that mean? It means a whopping 90% of people are stuck in this relentless loop of starting and quitting, while only 10% actually make it to the finish line. So how do we actually get into that top 10%? Well, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll uncover the trap of distraction. Then we'll look at the brain's hidden saboteur. After that, we'll break down the predictable cycle of quitting, the cost of never finishing, and finally, I'm going to give you 5 cheat codes to basically hack your brain and become a finisher. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the trap of distraction, and really understanding shiny object syndrome.
First things first, we need to explicitly name this invisible trap that highly ambitious and creative people fall into literally every single day. It's called shiny object syndrome, or SOS. Basically, it's the habit of constantly abandoning your current project to chase a new, seemingly more exciting idea. Think of it kind of like the honeymoon phase, right? In the beginning, the new idea feels completely perfect. But the exact moment the actual work gets tough, we jump ship. We convince ourselves that, oh, this new shiny thing is the real winner. To see just how dangerous this can be, let's look at the world of cricket. There are these 2 legendary Indian cricketers who started on the exact same ground, under the exact same coach. Experts actually initially thought Vinod Kambli had way more raw flair than Sachin Tendulkar. Kambli hit double centuries. He literally had the world at his feet. But he succumbed to the shiny objects, the glamour, the parties, and just a total lack of routine. Sachin, on the other hand, he pushed through bad form and immense pressure with absolute strict discipline. The result? Sachin became the god of cricket, while Kambli's career just kind of faded out. It really proves that raw talent means absolutely nothing if you fall victim to SOS. Which brings us to section 2, the brain's hidden saboteur. And spoiler alert, it's really not your fault. Listen, if you've been struggling with quitting lately, I want to reassure you right now, your hardware isn't broken. This is not some massive character flaw. What you're actually doing is fighting an evolutionary wiring called neophilia. That's the brain's natural love and preference for new things. See, thousands of years ago, finding a new path or a new resource literally meant survival. But in our modern digital age, this survival instinct completely misfires. Your brain actively manipulates you. It labels hard work as exhausting and highlights some shiny new shortcut as super beneficial, just so it can get that cheap novelty. Okay, moving on to section 3, the cycle of quitting, or the 5 stages of change. Now, what's really fascinating here is that the way our brain tricks us is incredibly predictable. Seriously, every new project goes through this exact same emotional journey. On day 1, you have uninformed optimism. You get this massive, cheap dopamine spike just by planning the thing out. But by week 1, you hit informed pessimism. You realize, oh wow, playing the guitar actually hurts my fingers, and the work starts to feel like a real burden. But guys, it's what happens in week 2 that is the absolute true test. Welcome to Level 3, the Valley of Despair. This is literally where 90% of goals go to die. Progress feels agonizingly slow. You're putting in all this effort but seeing absolutely 0 results. And right at this moment of maximum vulnerability, what happens? Your brain desperately shoves a new shiny object right in your face. It whispers, hey, trading crypto is way easier than learning guitar. It just wants to drag you back to that effortless dopamine high of day 1 on something entirely different. And that leads right into section 4, the cost of never finishing. Welcome to being the permanent beginner. If you keep falling for this trick your brain is playing, there are some pretty severe real-world consequences. I mean, you end up wasting thousands of dollars on abandoned memberships and software tools, all because you're confusing motion with momentum. When you constantly jump between exciting new ideas, sure, you feel busy, but that's just motion. It's like sitting in a rocking chair, right? You're moving back and forth, but you are going absolutely nowhere. You end up becoming a permanent beginner. You know a little bit about 10 different things, but you have expertise in 0. What we actually need here isn't motion. We need momentum.
Top performers operate completely differently. Even massive digital stars like Logan Paul, who seem to be doing everything, boxing, YouTube, beverages, all at once, they actually follow a very strict rule. He said, "I don't do everything at once. I obsess over one thing until it's automated. Then I move on to the next." And that hits the nail on the head. Massive success comes from refusing to divide your focus until your primary project is fully, completely locked in. All right, so how do we fix this? Let's get into section 5, 5 brain cheat codes for hacking your output.
So, we've covered the trap. Now let's look at how to actively hack our own brain wiring. We are going to use 5 powerful cheat codes to survive that dreaded valley of despair. They are the parking lot, burn the ships, mental time travel, boredom reset, and the finisher muscle. Let's break down exactly how you can apply these today.
Okay, cheat code 1 is the parking lot, or as they playfully call it in Hindi, the chul sheet, basically an urge sheet. When you're working hard and you suddenly get this overpowering urge to start a brand new side hustle, do not buy that domain name. Stop right there. Instead, just write the idea down in a dedicated note on your phone. This one simple act actually satisfies your brain's craving for novelty. Then, just revisit that note 3 days later. You're going to realize the dopamine has dropped, and it was really just a fleeting impulse. Cheat code 2 is to burn the ships. Back in 1519, a commander named Hernan Cortez landed his army on a new shore and immediately ordered his men to burn their own ships. Why? Because retreating was no longer an option. They had to succeed. Look, when quitting is free, it's way too easy to just give up when you're stuck in the valley of despair. So, burn your ships. Give a friend $1,000 and tell them, hey, if I don't finish this project by Friday, you keep the money. By adding a painful, tangible consequence, your brain will magically find the focus it needs.
Next up, cheat code 3 is mental time travel. Elite athletes like Michael Phelps use this technique constantly. Here's what you do. Curate a specific music playlist, but you are only allowed to play it when you are actively working on your main goal. When you hit week 2 and the work becomes horribly boring, put those headphones on. That music will neurologically anchor you, instantly triggering that day 1 excitement and keeping you totally locked in. Moving on to cheat code 4, the boredom reset. Shiny object syndrome happens largely because our brains are completely overstimulated by digital noise. To break this loop, enforce a strict 24-hour tech detox. I'm talking no phone, no internet, no scrolling, nothing. When you starve your brain of all that cheap, fast stimulation, you experience a total reset. All of a sudden, your quote-unquote boring hard work will feel highly engaging and peaceful again.
And finally, code 5. Listen to this. Every single time you quit, you are actively training your quitter muscle. You're building a habit out of giving up. We have to reverse this by training your finisher muscle. How do we do that? By setting microscopic goals. Don't aim to go to the gym for an hour. Aim to just stretch for 5 minutes. Don't aim to write a whole script. Aim to just write the title. Completing these tiny micro goals shifts your identity. It proves to your brain that you are, in fact, a finisher.
So you've got the cheat codes, but now you actually have to use them. I want to leave you with a provocative challenge right now. What is your one goal, and what is your exact completion date? I want you to make a public contract in the comments section right now. Write it down. It is time to stop being a permanent beginner. Remember, the world claps for starters, but history is only written for finishers. Make the commitment, cross that finish line, and take control of your potential. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.